Hello and welcome back to SML Total Access. I am Primetime 000, and with me today is just Dan. What's going on, Dan?
Not much, man. Not much. Tiny is probably hanging off a cliff or an edge right now after he got that beat down last night. I feel bad for him. Hopefully you're all right. Tiny, come back to us. We still love you.
Yep, Tiny's sucking on a gun barrel. Hey, you know how we do it on Total Access? We don't waste time. So let's move on to first down. And interesting topic here, scheduling. Kind of broad. What do you think about scheduling in the SML right now? Any comments, concerns, tips, tricks, anything you got? Throw it out there, Dan. You're a commissioner of leagues. You've been around the block. What do you think?
Yeah, so overall, I think SML is really good at scheduling. I think we've gotten early advances probably 90% of the time, and guys are doing really well with that. The time scheduling or channel we got is a good thing. We can see what's going on, what's happening. But there's still a lot of areas where we can improve. And, with phones and with Discord, there really is zero excuse with not explaining or sharing or setting up a time. And then if something comes up, letting guys know far and far in advance. I had a situation where, Spooky was going out of town and Advance was coming that night. And it was, I think, about 1 p.m. that day. He let me know, hey, I'm going out of town. Can you run tonight? Well, my life didn't match up with his life, and it didn't work out. But he tried, and he was ahead of the time. And maybe a little bit more if he knew that was coming, we could have done it. But at least he was trying to work ahead of the time, and so that's what needs to happen. Guys just need to set a time. But if something comes up, we all have life, we all have situations. Just communicate and communicate, and you shouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. I remember in early league days, people would use like forums to schedule, or you'd have to go on there, find their cell phone number, and text them, and it's a lot easier now. But for me, I think that with scheduling, and kind of to mimic what you said, it'd be kind of foolish to say that personal circumstances don't play a role for each individual. For example, QP has a kid. He works a night shift job at weird hours at a hotel. And when you compare him to somebody like me, who I work days, I don't have any kids. So naturally, it's a lot easier for me to schedule my games than it is for QP. But QP knows he's kind of at a disadvantage with that. So what does he do with it? He doesn't complain and use it as an excuse. He makes sure his communication is on point. He looks ahead on Daddy Leagues or My Madden. We got both, and he reaches out to his opponent, and if they respond, he's back quick. He's open with the schedule, and his games get in just as quickly as mine do. And I know people make fun of my scheduling video, and you can poke at it all you want, but I guarantee if we looked at QP scheduling DMs, a lot of the things that he does goes on or mimics that scheduling video. And he's one of the best schedulers we got, despite his availability kind of sucking. And I know as a commissioner, I can't expect everybody to be as invested or schedule as quickly as I do. So the expectation is to not get your games in within 12 hours. I mean, we have 24 or, pretty much 48-hour advances for a reason. But what the expectation is to communicate. And I can guarantee the guys who often are one of the last games played or get their games simmed every so often, their communication probably sucks a majority of the time.
Yeah, and let me add on too, like, you got to realize there's two people always involved in scheduling. So,
Yep.
if you miss a time or you have to adjust or you have a tough schedule, like, that doesn't mean the other guy's just sitting around his PlayStation 5 and willing to, or able to even
Yeah.
accommodate your schedule. So, don't be so flippant about the other person that you don't communicate and you don't talk to them and you don't let them know. And you're like, hey, something came up, can we reschedule? And they might not be able to reschedule, and that's not really their fault.
Yep.
You've got to realize people have lives on both sides.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a good point. I'm good to move on now if you are.
Yep.
Second down. Hey, what's the hardest ability in Madden you kind of have to face, or even play style? Is there a certain style a member has? I mean, Faz obviously hates your style. Do you have any elaboration on that?
Yeah, no, I mean that's kind of the fun of playing fast a little bit, just because it's a little bit of a thorn in his side. I love watching some of the other guys do it, like Future and others give him some hard time for that. But for me, the hardest one, and I think I just played it about 2 games ago with Kyler Murray.
Mhm.
It's that escape artist with the gunslinger attached to it, because I really feel like you have no options. You can't blitz him because he's just going to run away from the blitz. You can contain him, but then he's got enough time back there with that gunslinger, like 40, 50-yard passes, which you
Right.
think should never be thrown. He can just throw them kind of on a dot. So yeah, I know people were all over Freight Train, and I think the league's kind of coming back around. Like, hey, Freight Train's not quite as bad. It's still a great ability. Don't get me wrong, but to me, the escape artist combined with the gunslinger is just almost impossible. It's like you just feel like you're hoping on a user error because there's nothing you can do. On the defensive side, it's probably Acrobat, but that's not the best. Well, not I shouldn't say the best. It has some flaws. It misses sometimes, but whenever I see Acrobat, I try to throw away from those guys just because I feel like maybe once a game they're just going to make a crazy interception, and to me, if something happens once or twice a game, then that for my style that can swing a game. So not too many on the defensive end I think are OP. If there is one, it's probably Acrobat, but I think Escape Artist and Gunslinger are by far the worst two.
Yeah, for me, obviously, kind of, as lame of an answer as it sounds, and it's kind of who's got the ability and how they use it. Obviously,
Yeah.
Freight Train, I think, is a major crutch. We seen it with Doink, or not Doink Face, his little lover boy, Double Rice No Beans.
Bean Boyd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he he's kind of come back to reality this season, but there's some games that he's been in and won thanks to Freight Train that he really wouldn't win without it. That said, for me, it's escape artist, obviously, and it's gunslinger with a really good quarterback. Like if you have
Yeah.
Faz with gunslinger, he's going to be really tough to beat. I think he had it with Josh Allen before Blip. Didn't win a Super
Yep.
Bowl still, but he was still really good with it. Um, that's what bothers me a little bit now. Just taking a 30,000 foot view and actual styles that I hate playing against. Um, like obviously Faz hates people who run the ball well and run it
Yeah.
consistently. For me, it's changed over the years, but now I just don't like people who are pretty solid at everything. Like I would consider
Yeah.
myself, I'm solid at passing and solid at running. I'm not an elite runner, and I'm probably not an elite passer anymore. But I'm solid at it. I can make plays, and I hate playing people like that because you don't know what they're going to do that game, and I think it's kind of tough to beat a chameleon a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the guys that can adjust mid game style wise are the ones that are the most hard, but it's kind of fun too because then you feel like you're actually doing a chess match. So
Yeah,
there's probably a handful of guys that go into a game with a certain plan, and then we'll see what you're doing, and then make adjustments. So someone I think does a pretty good job with that. That's underrated though is Grams. I think Grams does a good job. I think he's solid on both ends. He just loses games that he shouldn't lose, and I don't
yeah,
know why. And it's kind of funny, but he makes some good adjustments in mid game. He's a guy that doesn't have a great record, but I'm not a big fan of playing against him because he always gives me a hard time, and I got him coming up here in a few weeks. But yeah, I agree. Those styles that can adjust and do both run and pass are tough.
yeah. I agree. I agree. So moving on now to third down. NFC North has been kind of a hot race this year. What's your thoughts on the NFC North?
Yeah, I saw their records the other day. It's pretty exciting. I got 3 team race there. You got Noel, who's still doing it and still putting up a good record. You got Clink coming back, although he had a really really tough loss against Fig last night, so it's kind of hard to talk about Clinky today. But he's right there, and then you got one of the hottest teams in the SML right now in Finns with the Bears. I mean, I don't know if you saw the score, but he just put a beat down on Dump. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, Dump runs his mouth and talks like he's gonna, I'm the number one seed in the NFC. I'm this, I'm that, and then Finns just goes in and just beats him
yep,
down like nobody's business. So,
yep.
yeah, I think Finns might be making a big run here. I was shocked by that score.
Yeah. Finn's really put it on Dump, and yeah, it's interesting to see. I like Finn's. I think he's got a shot at winning this division still. He does have some tough games left. He's got you coming up. He's got me down the pipeline,
Yeah,
but he does play. He does play Clinky. and he's got Woods there as well. So it's going to be tough, but regardless, to see Fins kind of turn things around and be in the thick of things and watch, he's a really good team builder. So that team's only going to get
Yeah.
better. So let's say Fins doesn't win this season, this division. I mean, he's going to be right in that race for the rest of the cycle, I think. And man, Clinky, I thought the dude was playing with his toes last season, but maybe he's just not as good as I thought he was. I don't know. I don't know what to think about
Yeah,
Clinky.
that Figs loss is hard to explain. Now back to Fins though. Do you should we take credit for preparing him for this? I mean we showed him the ropes before the blip, and
Yep.
and we basically kind of took him out back and just like big brother on a little brother, just
Yeah.
beat the tar out of him. And now he's coming out and pounding on Dump and beating on him. I mean, we
Yeah.
should take credit for his
I
good
think we
play, right?
should. I think we
Yeah,
should, and it goes to show that hey, Dump's only the 4 seed now after losing to Finns. I mean that goes to show,
yeah.
what a
He
scrub.
might not make the playoffs actually if Paulie gets his act together. He could be out of the playoffs
Yeah,
too.
Paulie needs to quit playing with his toes and play with his thumbs now. Them old brittle fingers still got a little bit of fire in them. So let's move on now. Fourth down. Hey, stick a fork in them. Who are you sticking a fork in?
Wow, there's a lot of uh, kind of confusion within these playoff races, and I think one of the more kind of congested playoffs in both conferences. But one, I'm putting a fork in him is Bean Boy. We've been putting a fork in him for a few weeks, but just watching him play and seeing some of the things, I'm putting a fork in him.
Yep.
Here's another one I'm putting a fork in that seems kind of weird, but I'm putting a fork in Doink Face. Doink Face. I think he's sitting at maybe the 5 or 6 seed right now,
Yeah.
but he's got Faz twice, he's got Future twice, and he might have one other hard game in there. And you know what? I saw what happened against him in QP. If QP sells that blueprint, like QP's out there and he's telling everyone how to stop Brady and that hot route master, Doingface is in trouble. I mean, he's got a super loaded team and he's got some tough matchups coming up here. I think he's got 4 losses. I think if you get if you get 7 losses, you're out of the playoffs. So uh, I I think Doingface is in big trouble. So I got the primer posse too. The three of them. I think they're done.
Yeah, that's good. Doink Face, man, for as good as that team is, and it's a very solid player. I think his preparation is pretty high as well. He cannot win a big game to save his life. So
He's a
I'm
good team builder. I think he's doing a good job building a team. But man, you watch some of his user defense. It's crazy how off that is.
Yeah, no, I agree. For the one person I'm sticking a fork in is Monty. Um, look, he
The
started
other so we're
all
doing
three.
a full primer posse done.
Yeah, I had never watched Monty play honestly up until I watched him in Bomber about 70% of that game, and I realized that I mean he's had some okay wins, but he just makes too many mistakes. I mean, really
Yeah,
boneheaded mistakes. Like I don't know if he knows how to throw the ball away. And it's
yeah.
it's stunning. And he's got freight
Mm.
train, and he's got a decent Jamar Chase. Burrow's okay. Um, yeah, I mean he should have beat Bomber, but he really couldn't get out of his own way, and that was a big game for
Mm.
him. So I'm just gonna stick a fork in Monty.
Nice, nice. I
So
I like it. I like it. I'd love to see one of these primer boys actually win something big. Like I feel like every time we put them on the main stage, man, they just lay an egg. So
yeah.
until they do that, man, they deserve every kind of getting bashed and raked over the coals that any show gives them.
Yeah, no, it's humiliating, I think, for them. So hey, we're moving on to the extra point, and actually, Tiny was supposed to be here. He slept in. We're supposed to do the Tiny Five. So I'm going to improv a little bit here, and I'm going to ask you real quick. We got some big games coming up, especially this week. We got Bomber and QP. Uh, how big of a game is this for Bomber? It looks like now he's kind of. I think he's going to make the playoffs. I don't think that's much of a question anymore because everybody else in the AFC that like under the bubble is kind of tripping over their own feet a little bit. So I think Bomber's in, but is this a big game still, or is it no longer a big game?
Yeah, it's a big game. I think for Bomber's psyche. I think Bomber he doesn't have to win the game, but it's got to be a close game. If Bomber goes out and actually QP lays the hammer on him and just beats him by 2-3 scores. Man, I know Bomber lost some guys. I know it's gonna be tough without some of his players. He just posted there, but still, like there's something about the psyche that He's got to play QP again, and we've seen Bomber, like you sometimes even Faz, people call us the elite or the top guys, but we lose all the time to
Yeah.
to other guys too. And Bomber can very easily lose some of these last games. So even though I think playoffs are looking more positive because of other players, I think for his psyche, this is a huge game. This is a big game. He's got to play close. I'm not a big moral victory guy, but I am a believer in a devastating loss kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so if he has a devastating loss here, this could be really affect him.
Yeah, one thing for Bomber, I think what we're used to is he is a really solid, really good regular season player. And he's on a win streak right now, but outside of that KJ win, a lot of these wins he's had are really all within one score, except for Colt 45, which was close kind of late.
Yeah.
He hasn't really looked like a well oiled, fine tuned Corvette, running at 8 cylinders. I mean, it seems like he's skipping on six of the eight are firing right now or something. So
Yeah.
a win against QP would be huge. And QP historically, I mean, they split last season, but Bomber beat them in the championship game.
Yep.
I think Bombers and QP's head a little bit, and I think that's a big game for both players. And hey, that AFC North still up for grabs. And hey, this number one seed in the AFC could have a major shift with a loss for QP here as well.
Do you think QP is the top dog right now in the AFC?
No,
You
no,
think you are?
yeah,
All
yeah.
right, all right.
I
Let me ask you the question though. Let me throw it back at you. Which win you look at that tells you that you're back? Like, I feel like your schedule's been a little soft. So which win do you look like and say, yeah, I'm back. I can make a run.
so yeah, that's a really good question. I haven't had that like major win over a Faz type, but what I've done is I've really put it on the guys who I think I should. I put it on meets by 2 or 3 scores. I put it on Grams by 2 scores. Um, even even D Muse, I won. I probably could have beat him by a little bit more. And then I put it on old No Bean by like 40 points. And
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
I've got Dump coming up, and I think I'm going to win that game by around maybe 10 to 17 points. And that'll
Well, if
be
if Finns beat him, you better beat him too.
yeah, that's true. That maybe not as good of a win as I think it should be, but yeah, because
Yeah,
Fins did beat Dump. So
yeah.
no, I think at this point my team's kind of in a spot where I can beat anybody now in the AFC, and Bomber doesn't scare me that much, and I think that I had QP on the ropes last season with Carson Wentz, so QP doesn't scare me either.
I don't think you're blowing any smoke. I think the confidence is real, and so I'm buying it for now. I think I don't know if I'd put you over QP right now, but I think it's going to be a wild playoffs. I think you'll be right there.
No, I respect it. Hey, real quick then, NFC, what's going on? You the top dog, you're champ, but some have said that hey, you're not hitting like kind of like Bomber. You're kind of you're a six banger instead of an eight banger right now.
Yeah, no, I'm not playing very well. I'm kind of feeling my way a little bit offensively. I think I'm doing pretty good, but my defense has been atrocious the last
Hmm.
3 to 4 games, and there's nothing that would speak otherwise. So I think right now it's Faz's division. Only thing I got going for me is I know come playoff time, Faz is going to choke somewhere. So
Yeah,
I'm just going to wait for that one moment where he chokes. Actually, he was actually, I don't know if you saw this last night. He was actually saying his ski trip might run right into the playoffs
I
this year
seen
again.
that.
So
Uh,
good old Faz, can't figure this thing out here.
yeah,
And but I think he's the top dog. I think NYT. I mean, I think if he uses Murray in the right way, he's going to be dangerous. And then, Future's still floating around and a few other guys. So NFC, I think is a little bit lesser than the AFC. I'll admit that. Um, but I think come Super Bowl, it just comes down to the right matchup. So
yep.
we'll see what happens in the Super Bowl. But I think the NFC is a little bit lesser right now.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, well, that's SML Total Access. That's Dan. I'm Prime. Tiny licking his wounds after getting beat down by Dan last night.
Yeah, boy.
Let's go, boys. Total Access, SML, place to be. Apply today. SimMaddenLeague.com. Everybody, thanks for listening, and you have a great day.